Okay, so we'll be waiting for 5 more minutes and we'll be starting by 8:05. Okay, guys. Okay, can you all let me know in the chat box if I'm audible to you people or not? Okay, so hello everyone. I'm happy to welcome you all in the opening ceremony of Infinite Loop Conspiracy, that is ICC. So today we will be talking about open source, communities, and most important, ICC. So let me know your excitement in the chat box and like how excited you people are. Like you can share your emojis or anything. Okay, I guess I'm getting messages late. Okay, nice. So So, okay, great to see that, Smriti, Puneet, and all. Okay, so let me tell you guys that this event is sponsored by companies like GitHub, Postman, Dayfolio, JetBrains, and many more such amazing companies. Okay, now let me know the excitement level of yours. Okay, so today we have our chief guest, our guest speaker for the opening ceremony. His name is Bart Farrel. He lives and breathes in communities, whether it's rapping while leading the date on Kubernetes community or making videos on it. If it involves fresh ideas, inclusivity, and high energy level, Bart will be there. Originally from San Francisco Bay Areas, Bart currently resides in Bilbao, Spain, where he lived for 10 years. His his he is a firm believer in the power of beginners. He can frequently be found organizing CNCF student community sessions and interacting with beginners. He is the head of community on data at Data on and on community. So without wasting a single minute, let's call upon Bart. Um,
Hey, how's
okay.
it going?
Hello, Bart. So how are you?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Okay, great. I'm also good. So, so you can tell us about yourself.
Okay,
Brief
yeah.
introduction.
I have a presentation. If you want, I can share my screen.
Yeah, you can share.
Okay, cool. Hi, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. Very excited to be here today. It's nice to have an event on a Monday because a lot of times events are on other days of the week, but Monday, a lot of times people are slow. So it's good to start with energy. I really, really like that. So I'm going to share my screen really quickly. You should be able to see this soon. Let me backtrack and make sure that I'm in the right place. Sorry, there we go. Just let me know when you can see my screen.
Yep, your screen's visible.
Good, perfect. All right. So I want to be able to I want to be able to there we go. Awesome. So while that's loading, yeah, as she mentioned, first of all, very, very nice to be here once again. And I'm going to be presenting a little bit about myself and then about these two aspects of open source and community, because I understand that's what we're here to talk about today. For some reason,
Exactly.
it doesn't look, it's not letting me share my screen. I don't know why, but that's okay. Let me go back. Let me go back. I'm going to try to share that again. I'm just going to do the whole I'm going to do the whole window so you can see all my tabs. Um, let's take a look. How about
It's
now?
visible.
There we go. Okay, now it should be going. So, as mentioned, my name is Bart Farrel. I am from the United States. I've been living in Spain for the last 10 years, as she mentioned. Absolutely correct. And I've been working as the head of community in the Data on Kubernetes community, which you might know, you might not know. I'm also a CNCF ambassador. That's why I have this super cool sweatshirt. And anyway, always happy to meet new people, new folks that are starting out. I really want you to know that I'm here to help. It's a pleasure to get folks introduced to the CNCF Students Group, also all the other initiatives that are related to young people who are starting out. We don't want this to be stressful. We don't want this to be overwhelming. I'm a big believer that you can learn and have fun at the same time, and that those things should always be together, right? Learning and having fun shouldn't be separate. They should be together as often as possible. So yeah, anyway, I will be trying to focus on that kind of stuff in the presentation. Since I am looking at my screen, I won't be able to see if there are questions that are coming up. So if you can just interrupt me, just start talking and tell me if anybody has a question so that I can answer it accordingly. All right.
Fine, I'll do that.
Thank you. Awesome. So, and like I said, if you have questions, please let me know while I'm talking. I'm happy to answer them now. Also happy to continue the conversation elsewhere. But it's really, really important. A big part of this is about community and open source is getting your questions, comments, doubts, ideas out in the open. All right. Don't be afraid. There's no such thing as a stupid question. The only thing is a stupid silence. All right. So don't be afraid to get those things out in the open. Awesome. So let's continue. Who am I? Already had a nice introduction. But I'm originally from California, from near San Francisco. I've been working in tech for the last 6 years, but always on the human side. So building communities, things related to talent management, building out learning resources, organizing events online as well as offline. involved in different areas like that. I really like working with people from different countries. I've had the good fortune of being able to live in different places. Very lucky. And I've been able to continue to do that through my work in the data on Kubernetes community. My Hindi is terrible, but I did learn how to say chakatafate earlier this year, and I say it often as possible. I like challenges, and I encourage you to also like challenges, right? Do not worry if you find yourself in an environment where you're not an expert. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. It's a really good thing when you're surrounded by a lot of other people and you're like, wow, they have a lot more knowledge than I do on this subject. That means that you're going to learn. And just because somebody's older doesn't mean they know everything, right? I'm 36 years old and there's tons of stuff that I don't know, right? But like I said, I very much enjoy challenges, and I encourage you to enjoy them as well. What happens sometimes with younger people is, well, not just younger people, people in general, is that we like to understand things quickly. And sometimes with certain open source projects like Kubernetes, that may not happen right away, right? Enjoy the process. Don't worry if it involves having to research here, ask some questions there, or to have to do some, kind of homework on your own. Just enjoy it, right? Enjoy that part of the process as much as possible. Enjoy the challenge, right? Now, another thing that I do that makes me a little bit different is I rap about the sessions that we do in the Data on Kubernetes community. You'll see this is a photo of one that's on YouTube. I like to do this once again because Kubernetes is difficult. Data on Kubernetes is probably even more difficult. So to try to make it fun and more accessible, I make rap videos about our different live streams and meetups that we do in order to make it, like I said, fun and sort of to reach out to people and encourage them to do the same thing. Another thing here that might not seem relevant at all to open source or community, but I speak Spanish. Right? I lived in Spain for the last 10 years, and knowing that other language has helped out a lot in being able to interact with other people that are involved in open source, but maybe they don't speak English. We can still work together on the same project, right? So I just want to make that clear that there are lots of different ways to get involved in open source as well as communities. I always tell people as well, I didn't study computer science. I'm not a programmer. I'm not a sysadmin. I'm not a DevOps. I'm not an SRE. But that doesn't mean that I can't be involved in these areas where people, those kind of profiles are working, right? You have to understand that we don't just need people that are programmers. We don't just need people that are data scientists, right? We need a wide range, a wide, diversity of different kinds of profiles, because nowadays every company is a tech company. Coca-Cola is a tech company. Nike is a tech company. It's not just Amazon. It's not just Microsoft. It's not just Facebook and Netflix that are tech companies, right? Every company is connected to technology in one way or another. So we always need people that can really, like I said, enjoy the full spectrum of the different kinds of positions and opportunities that are created because of these environments, right? Now, open source benefits, right? If you haven't been involved in open source already, get involved now, right? It's super, super easy to get involved. If you'd like to go check out stuff in the CNCF, lots of different open source projects you can be involved in there. Kubernetes is one of them. There are lots of other open source projects too that are part of the Linux Foundation or the Cloud Native Computing Foundation that you can be involved in. And why should you get involved in open source? Well, these are just some of the benefits, not the only benefits, but these are some good ones, right? You get to develop your skills. The stuff that you're learning in university or that you're learning in YouTube tutorials, or I don't care where you're learning it, you get to put that into practice, right? So any kind of technology that you're interested in, whether it's JavaScript, whether it's Python, whether it's Android, it doesn't matter, whether it's blockchain, whether it's C++, just literally go to Google, type that technology, and then type open source and see what you'll find, right? You can also do that with the CNCF. If you type CNCF Python or CNCF JavaScript or CNCF Android, the CNCF is so big that you will definitely find something, all right? There is an open source project out there with your name on it. You just got to go out there and find it, right? So with a little bit of searching, shouldn't be too difficult. Second benefit of open source, you get to meet people from all over the world. I can't tell you enough how enriching it is to interact with people from different countries for many different reasons. It makes you more empathetic. It makes you more patient. It allows you to question your way of doing things and to better understand how there's not just one right way to do things, but there are many different ways of solving problems and providing solutions for them. So meeting people from other countries is very, very beneficial in that regard. The third one is it also helps you build your brand. We say, kind of learning in public. You can share what you're learning on Twitter, on LinkedIn, also building out your profile on GitHub. All these things are super, super important when you're going to apply for a job. Same thing as number two, is that if you're meeting people from all over the world, if they work in a company and they're looking for someone who has the skill set that you have, that you've been showing this open source project, well, guess what? You just made that hiring process much easier. You cannot believe how many companies are trying to find developers, people with talent or interest in these kind of open source technologies, and they can't find them. So by participating in those open source projects, you make yourself much more visible to companies that are literally all over the world. Remote work is here to stay, right? So just keep that in mind. Don't limit yourself only to companies that are in your local area. I'm not saying that's a problem. I'm just saying there are many options out there. You get to develop hard skills as well as soft skills. Hard skills in the sense of, Python, Android, JavaScript, all those technologies we were talking about, Golang, it doesn't matter. You get to work on those skills and having other people help you to improve, right, through pull requests, through different code-based contributions, but then also soft skills like writing, like participating in meetings, like project management, things like that are also very important no matter what kind of a job you're going to have. And the fifth point, you get to stay up to date with the best technologies. You get to work shoulder to shoulder with people who are super talented. At least in the case in the CNCF, as I'm sure is the case in lots of other areas where you can explore open source projects, you get to work with maintainers, people who are super talented, who have tons and tons of skills. You will learn a lot from those people, right? So very beneficial. Now, open source and community go hand in hand. So now we're going to take a look at the different ways that you can get involved through communities, through open source projects, right? So we have code contributions, just as we were talking about, hard skills, soft skills. So contributions directly to the code base. Now, in the CNCF, to make it easier for people that want to get involved, you can attend meetings for what are called special interest groups, right? SIGs, S-I-G. So what's a SIG? A SIG is focused on a different project, a different kind of technology. And they have, in order for make it easier for people to get involved, whether through a SIG or whether it's through an open source project like Keptin or Thanos, it doesn't matter. But they have issues for first timers, meaning for people that are just starting to get in there. It's like, okay, here's something that's relatively simple for you to resolve or to work on. And somebody can even help you out so that process is easier and not so overwhelming. And also, you don't necessarily even have to get involved. You can just go and say, hi, I just want to attend the meeting so I can get a little bit more comfortable. I'm going to read the documentation and then I'm going to get involved. There is no rush. Don't feel like this is your only opportunity, all right? You have to think about this as a long-term sort of thing. It's very healthy to stay in touch with some kind of open source project for the rest of your career, for the reasons that I mentioned. You get to keep working on stuff. You get to keep upskilling, learning new stuff. You get to be interacting with people from other countries. All those things are beneficial, not just right now, but for the rest of your working lives, right? Now, also for some of you, because you might say, what are the prerequisites? Do I need to be an expert in Kubernetes or, in cloud native technologies? Absolutely not, right? There are lots of non-code contributions. I've talked about this multiple times, and I love talking about it because it's really easy to get involved, right? Once again, I'm not a sysadmin. I'm not a DevOps. I'm not an SRE, but I can still participate in open source projects. Why? Because one of the first things you can do, and it's so important that I wrote it twice, is to be friendly, right? We're going through a global pandemic. It's a very good time to be friendly because people are having a hard time, right? We can't go outside. We have restrictions. We have to do everything remotely, et cetera. Just being friendly, being nice, being welcoming, being supportive, that's huge, right? Because that creates an environment where people want to be, right? So if you do that, that's a huge contribution. Second thing, correct typos. Look at the docs, all right? People make spelling mistakes all the time. And sometimes those spelling mistakes are really important because that can cause confusion for people that are trying to read that. So that's a huge way to get involved too. Like I said, welcoming new people. When someone shows up, make it easy for them. Guide them to the resources that they need to find so that they can start actively participating in the project, right? Sharing resources. If you find an article, if you find a video, if you find a podcast, if you find some piece of information that's relevant and useful for the people that are involved, share it, right? Another one, attending meetings. You don't want to turn your camera on because you're more of an introvert. That's totally fine, all right? That's not a problem. But just being in meetings so you can listen to what other people are talking about, get a better idea, and once again, welcoming other people and being kind and friendly, that's huge too, all right? Translating stuff to local languages. Previously I said I speak Spanish. That's also really helpful. All these open source projects are trying to be accessible and inclusive for people in different countries. So if you can translate documents from one language to another, that's a huge skill as well, all right? Writing tutorials. Make it easy for other beginners to get involved. So you take a concept that might be a little bit complex and you make it simpler so that new people can understand it. And that way you don't have to repeat yourself 5,000 times. You just send them one link to say, hey, watch this tutorial. This is what I created. Once again, be friendly. Being friendly is super important. I cannot stress this enough. You don't have to have experience. You do need to be Kind. You need to be a little bit patient because some of these things take time, right? But that's okay. All right, we can all be patient. That's a very very good skill to be cultivated as well. Like I said, it's pretty easy to get involved. So with community, very very important here. Whether it's with community, whether it's with open source projects, always do a little bit of homework. There are lots of communities out there. Find which one is going to be the best one for you. Is it really recommendable to be in 10 communities at the same time? Probably not really, because there are only so many hours in the day. And some of those communities are going to be work better for you than others. Don't feel like you have to be super involved in every single one, right? Find the one that makes most sense for you, and that's where you can check it out, right? So when I say do a little bit of homework, know where you're at, right? Read the web page, go check out their social media, check out the pinned messages that they have in Slack or Discord. Read any documentations they have. If they have videos, take a look at that. And then you can kind of decide, based on the technologies that I'm interested in, is this the right place for me? The Data on Kubernetes community is a great match for some people and probably not a great match for others. So when some people come in and ask saying, hey, I would like to learn this specific technology, I would say, you know what? I would love to have you here. You're more than welcome to be in our community. But considering what you want to do, maybe this community or that community could be a better place for you to develop those skills, right? There's no obligation. It's mostly about what makes most sense for you, all right? Easy ways to get involved in the community. Ask questions, right? Particularly specific ones. If you say, hey, I watched this video and I didn't understand what this person was saying, or you can tag them directly so that they answer it. The idea of community is to have dialogues, to have conversations, okay? So that's a really, really good way to do it. Also, welcoming new people. When new people arrive, same thing. Make the onboarding experience easier. Help them get to the resources that they need to find. Answer their questions. Find things and share, like I said, videos, articles, blog posts, etc., etc. Giving feedback, right? Constructive feedback. Always try to be empathetic with the other person. You have no idea what situation they're going through, but you want to try to help them to improve. But there are ways to say some things that are better than others. Instead of saying, I think that's really bad, saying, could you explain to me a little bit more why you decided to do this? Right? They're just nicer ways to say things so that people don't get offended and that people once again feel welcome. Now, be realistic about your involvement. Most of you are studying. Studying takes up a good amount of time. That means you have a certain amount of time left where you can do other activities. You need to find out which ones are the ones where you can make the biggest impact and will have the biggest impact on you. If you're trying to be an ambassador here and a representative here and running this here and doing that there, you can probably do it for a while, but long term, it's probably not going to be sustainable. It's much better to be able to contribute 1 to 2 hours consistently for a couple of years than doing a bunch of stuff really, really quickly and then kind of disappearing. I say that for the benefit of the community, all right? Just always try to be honest and realistic with yourself about how much time you can actually commit, all right? Now, getting towards the end, in terms of next steps, the only thing that you have to fear is fear itself. If you are kind, if you are friendly, if you are honest, and if you do a little bit of homework, nobody in any community should be, mean to you or hard on you. That should never be the case, right? Don't be afraid. Just jump right in, right? And if you don't know something, then you can ask, right? People will be totally happy to help you and guide you with reasonable questions, reasonable answers, giving you resources. And the more resources that you consume, the more specific your questions will probably be. And then you'll probably get to the place that you want to be faster, right? The best way to get involved is to get involved. All right. This is a quote from my friend Kunal Kushwaha that I'm a big fan of. I already gave you the list of non-code contributions. There are lots and lots and lots of different ways to get involved. You have to ask yourselves, considering my skill set and the things that I've done before, based on my experiences, what would be the best way for me to participate? Is it correcting typos? Is it reading documentation? Is it finding resources? Is it giving talks? Is it recruiting new people? You've got to take a look at the things that you do that you're interested in and see how that's going to match up with the needs of that open source project or that community. All right. Number 3, you are all welcome in the CNCF, but make sure that you do your homework because maybe the CNCF isn't the right place. All right. I would say that it probably is because there are lots of different ways to get involved. But do yourself the favor of taking a look and seeing, I'm going to type the words CNCF and Python and Django, and I don't care what, Ruby on Rails, whatever technology that you like. Take a look at that first. Then you can kind of explore, jump in the Slack, look at the different groups where you can get involved, and then you'll find a place that's going to make most sense for you. If you have direct questions about that, you can always contact me on Slack, the CNCF Slack, Kubernetes Slack, and the Data on Kubernetes community. Don't be a stranger, all right? Seriously, one of the biggest things is just take that first step. It's probably not going to go wrong, right? And there are a lot of really friendly people who would be happy to help out. So that's pretty much my recommendations. I try to keep this as short, sweet, and practical as possible. I wish you the best on your journeys, but remember the main thing is to be proactive, right? Is every single strategy that you're going to have going to work perfectly? Probably not, but that's okay. Enjoy the process. Try to be patient, try to be kind to yourselves, and always try to be proactive. Never take no for an answer, and always make sure that you're continuing to learn in environments where you're connecting with different people that have more skills than you, who can show you different things from different countries. So, like I said, you get to appreciate those different skills and cultures that people have and different ways of doing things, and also so they can learn from you and your culture as well. I'm really easy to find on Twitter, Birthmark Bart, also on LinkedIn, like I said, Slack. Very, very nice being with you here today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the event. Looks like there are some really, really nice speakers that are lined up for this. And like I said, absolute pleasure being here. Oh, I think you're muted. No, I think you're still muted. It's okay.
Okay.
Now you're not muted.
Okay, fine. I'm audible to you all, right?
Yeah,
Okay. So first question was, there are so many communities, which one to choose from?
that's a very, very good question. And like I said, it's you kind of got to shop around, right? So based on, like I said, based on which kind of the my question is, what kind of technologies are you interested in? What sounds most interesting for you right now? Based on that, then you can kind of start to look around. But I would also say, to really give a community a chance, you need to spend, a few hours checking out the resources that they have, seeing what things that they have there, and then how's the best. Is it a place where you feel like you can get involved, doing the things that you like to be doing? Unfortunately, I don't have a perfect answer for that. It's really, I wish I could. I'm not going to say go here or go there. I can only speak about my community, where we do have lots and lots of beginners, and there are different ways for people to get involved. But like I said, there are a lot of other communities out there, so it's mostly a question of go to different spaces, see your experience. If you have friends that are there, if you know other people that are there, and particularly if it relates to the stuff that you're interested in, that's the most important thing.
Okay. Okay. So the next question was, it's how should one get most of the communities?
Very, very good question. So to get the most out of the communities is to be active, right? To be active. So find a way to participate, find a way to make yourself visible, and once again, focus on consistency, right? If people that are at a higher level see that you are there every single week spending, and once again, it doesn't need to be 500 hours. We're talking about, depending on how much time you have, between 1 to 5 hours a week is great, right? If you can be actively asking questions, if you can be actively interacting with people, if you can also ask the people in the community, what's the best way for me to participate and help out, those people are going to remember you, right? It's a very, very good way to make yourself visible. Then generally through those communities, you will see different companies that are participating. In most communities, there's also a channel where jobs are posted. If companies are offering jobs, a lot of times they'll also be offering internships. So that's a way to find them. But my advice would not be to walk into a community and say, I want an internship. Don't do that. But most of the best way to get involved is say, how can I help? If you say, how can I help? Then someone will easily say, oh, thank you very much. Nice to have you here. You can do this, you can do this, you can do that. Once you do that, it will make things like an internship or a job probably more of a normal part of the conversation. You want to be remembered as the person who helped and gave their time. You don't want to be the person, you want to be remembered as the person who came in just asking for a job, 500 times. So like I said, do yourself the favor of being proactive, of contributing. An expression that we use in the CNCF is pay it forward. This is a great, and also viral generosity, right? These are two terms that I hope you remember. Paying it forward mean that I do something not expecting anything in return, right? The more that you do those things, then that creates what's called viral generosity. By you openly sharing and being generous, you encourage other people to do the same thing. So then it has a domino effect, and it's really, really positive to see that. Like I said, getting the most from communities, finding one that makes sense for you, interacting with their materials, interacting with their group members, asking questions, answering questions, and asking how you can help. Then I would say, then it makes those other conversations more just of a natural consequence. And also sharing what you learn, sharing what you learn on Twitter, sharing what you learn on LinkedIn, building out your GitHub profile and your repos. That's a really, really good way to make yourself visible. And then the job and internship conversations become much more natural. Specifically in the CNCF, we have the Linux Foundation internships, menteeships, those in Google Summer of Code, things like that. Those are different opportunities. If you want to find out more, you can go to the Linux Foundation website, also in the CNCF, and you'll see things like that. They have very specific requirements for what you need to do in order to get involved. So you can definitely check that out. But there are lots of other internships that you can be looking at as well.
Okay. Okay. So next question is, I'm focused on cloud side, but like Kubernetes is more on development tools, on programming things. So what are your views on this, and which community should you prefer for cloud?
Cloud is a really big topic, so I'd probably need to know more about what you're interested in regarding cloud. Is it, so more from dev tools and programming side? With that in mind, really, like there's no, it's I would ask what kind of programming languages you're interested in most, and then that way that can kind of help guide you. Also, remember, Kubernetes takes time. No one is ever going to expect you to learn Kubernetes in 5 minutes. So like you can have that as like a parallel project as you're learning other things, right? Like don't worry, like that's going to be there. So if you're interested in developing other skills, don't feel like you have to learn Kubernetes. Depending on what you're going to do, it might be more relevant or it might be less relevant. For the folks that are interested in learning Kubernetes, now they've made it more accessible for younger folks to get involved. You can check this out, which is the Kubernetes Cloud Native Associate, right? So up until now, there was to get certified for Kubernetes, there was the CKA and CKD, Certified Kubernetes Administrator, or Certified Kubernetes Developer exams, which are generally for working professionals who have significant technical experience working with Kubernetes. Now they've made it more accessible through a new exam called the Kubernetes Cloud Native Associate. So that way, people that you don't need to have 3 or 4 years experience actively working with Kubernetes. It's more just like a theoretical test where you learn concepts and terms and you answer the questions accordingly. So that's a new way for folks to get involved that are interested in Kubernetes, but maybe they don't feel like they're going to spend their whole lives working with it. So for folks that are more interested in cloud in general, because also as well too, you have different managed services in the clouds for containers. So if you're just interested in containers, you have Amazon Container Service. Most of the cloud providers will have their own. So that's another option too. Also, before you learn Kubernetes, it's probably good to learn Docker. Once again, containerization. One thing kind of leads to the other. So like I said, don't feel that you're in a rush. Enjoy the process and know that things need to go in order and that it's okay that you don't understand everything all at once. But like I said, just make it a progressive thing.
Okay. So next question is, have communities helped you in networking? If yes, then
Oh,
how?
yes, massively. That's a really good question. In the sense of obviously I'm the community organizer, so it's my job to go out and like meet people and invite them to come give talks. So I mean, part of my job is networking to expand the community. But for let's say community members, I've seen lots of different things happen. From people getting hired for jobs, from people getting mentoring, from people getting their questions answered. There are lots of different ways that communities can help with networking. In our community, we have 2 live streams every week. So if you attend a live stream, you can ask direct questions to the speakers. So that's one way of networking. And you can also get their contact info and stay in touch with them afterwards. So that's one way of doing it. And you can ask people different things. Some people, particularly younger people, will ask for career advice, and that's totally okay. Other people will have more technical questions for the speaker based on what they're talking about. In our community, the Data on Kubernetes community, we are very focused on specific things, running databases and storage on Kubernetes. So if that's something you're interested in, great. If not, you have lots of other, podcasts and live streams and things like that you can follow. So once again, find the one that have topics and subjects that you're interested in. And then it's more likely that the people that you're going to find there are people you want to network with, because those are people you want to be possibly working with in the future. But they definitely provide good opportunities. And remember, asking questions is one of the easiest ways to make yourself visible. You can ask questions during a live stream and then almost always continue the conversation on Slack afterwards, saying, hey, speaker so-and-so, I really enjoyed your talk. I had a few questions. Would you mind answering them? And speakers like being asked questions, right? That's why they give talks. They don't give talks to not be asked questions, right? They do it to show that they're experts on something. In order to show that they're experts on something, if people ask them questions, it gives them the opportunity to show that level of expertise that they have. So definitely recommend, communities are a great way to network, but you have to be proactive, right? If you just Think joining a community is going to make you visible? Probably not, right? But if you're commenting, if you're sharing resources that are relevant to the community, do not use communities to spam them just with personal stuff. In our community, we have a channel that's called Be Shameless so that people can send absolutely whatever they want. But always be respectful. Each community has different rules, so try to be respectful about that. Always follow their code of conduct. But like I said, networking is what part of what communities are for. So you definitely use them for that, but always be respectful.
Okay. Okay. Next, I hope this is the last question. So it's
It's
now
okay.
many companies
Leave it.
now many companies are having communities, and they are building many communities, like big tech companies are building communities. So is it for their marketing, or do these communities benefit the students too?
That's a brilliant question. All right, and the answer is yes and no. Because there's so much competition for companies, pretty much every company nowadays wants to have some kind of a community strategy. Literally, I just got off a call before this one with a company, a machine learning company that's all over the world, and they're trying to build a community from the ground up. They just started open sourcing some of their technologies, and they don't know where to start. They've got tons of money, but they don't know where to start. Every company generally nowadays knows that just having regular, let's say, marketing or information sharing is not going to be enough, because communities build natural long-term relationships where people actually get to know each other, and it's about trust, right? A good community should be building trust. It shouldn't be making you feel uncomfortable. It shouldn't be making you feel pressured. It shouldn't be making you feel like you're just always receiving lots of advertisements. Good communities have genuine, natural conversations where people can trust each other. So, that being said, different, like I said, I've been involved in lots of different companies, communities, and the good ones don't feel like you're just being attacked with advertisements. They feel like very welcoming places where you can ask questions and get informed, and it feels very natural and very normal. You want to think of it in the same way, even though they're digital spaces, as if they were physical spaces. If you walked into an event and 10 people were coming up just trying to sell you something aggressively, you probably wouldn't like it very much. If you walked into an event and someone said, "Hey, what are you here to learn and how can I help you?" That's going to give you a much more natural feel and much more respect as a person than feeling like you're just being targeted with advertisements. So I think that's a very, very good question. Yes, every company at the end of the day wants their technology to be number one. They want to, be dominating the market. But I think there are different ways to do it, and the best way to do it is by using trust and respect. Having said that, I've seen some companies that respect that very well. I've seen other ones that I would say could do a better job. And so I think it's up to you as well too. Good communities will always ask for feedback. We are always interested in improving. We send out surveys to people to get their feedback to see what they say. We take this stuff very, very seriously, and we depend on that. And so a good community should be constantly finding ways to interact with their users, their community members, to see what it is that they're enjoying and what it is that could be done better. That's a very, very good question.
Okay. Okay. So, okay, there are no more questions
But
as
those were
of
very
now.
good questions. I'm very happy. And this is a Monday, so that's good. I'm excited.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, Brad, for joining us today. It was wonderful to have you here, and the way you answered it boosted our confidence level and excitement.
Good.
So, thank you for joining. Now we'll be moving on to ICC.
All right. Bye, everybody. Take care.
Bye.
Cheers.
Okay. Now you all can ask your doubts regarding ICC in the chat box. Okay, I can see somebody asking, will someone please tell me how to take part in ICC? Okay, to take part in ICC, you have to first register yourself on. Okay, I'll share the link with you. Okay, so you people have to register on this given link. And after the registration, okay, this is open to all. Anybody can take part in it. Next thing is, you don't need to make teams for this thing, but you people are open to make teams of 3 people each. Okay, so this is how you'll be taking part. What you have to do basically in ICC. Okay, you people contribute in open source, right? So the same way, there will be projects. Okay, my screen got lost. Fine. Uh, yeah, there will be projects. Just let me share my screen. Is my screen visible to you all? Can you people let me know in the chat box? Is my screen visible to you all? Okay, yes. Okay, so if you people will visit this website, which is also there on Devfolio, so if you people will visit this website, you'll be seeing the section called projects. Okay, it's loading. Fine. Okay. After going on this projects, you'll be seeing various projects over there on your screen. I have slow network over here. Okay, I hope you people can see the screen now, right? Okay, so these are the projects over here. You can see over here. So these will be the projects. You can choose any one of the project, and what you can do is you can start contributing to it. There might be some issues, or you can go through that uh, README file and know what the project basically wants, right? So just let me know if you people have your GitHub IDs or not in the chat box. You people can tell me in the chat box if you people have your GitHub IDs. Like if you people have already made your GitHub IDs. Yes, fine. So you people are having your GitHub IDs. Great. Okay. So when we are talking about ICC, it is starting from today onwards. Today is 13th, and on 13th we are having our opening ceremony today. Next, there are two levels in ICC. Yeah, am I audible now? Am I audible now? Okay, yes. So basically, what you people have to do is you will be having two levels in ICC. Level 1 is starting from 15th of December and ending on 20 December. right? And this level will be consisting projects that are basically some beginners projects, like your first repository, your first contribution and stuff like that, right? So what you have to do is you people have to contribute in the projects, and on 19th December we will be announcing a cutoff, like how many, say, person A have 50 PRs, or not 50, I mean 5 PRs accepted, person B has 6 PRs accepted, and so on, right? So we'll be announcing a cutoff. Imagine we announced a cutoff of 6 PRs. So among that top 50 people, we'll be choosing top 50 people who will be eligible for virtual goodies, right? So whoever cross this cutoff will be they have to prepare a video telling what all they learned while contributing to that PR, and what all they have contributed and everything about it. And they have to submit their video by 20 December. From that, we'll be choosing 15 participants, and they have to present themselves in any language, Hindi or English, in front of our judges. And then the top three participants will be chosen, who will be receiving goodies from the companies announced. Right? There might be some hidden prizes too for some people. Okay. Next, we'll be talking about level two. So level two will be starting from 24th of December and will be ending on 27th December. This is for the people who are good in coding and all, and have participated in various coding competitions or open source contributions in the past. So contribution will be starting from 24th and will end by 27th. Cutoff will be announced on 27th itself. By 28th, you people have to submit a proposal. In that, what we want is basically like what all you did in this whole thing, right? So there will be a session on how to make your proposal. Do attend that too. Okay, so uh, on 29th, the top 15 participants will be chosen and they'll be presented in front of the judges. Okay, okay. So you people can start asking your questions. How can I start open source on DevFolio as you already have registered to ICC? How can you start open source? Okay, open source contributions will be counted from 15th of December. Before that, no contribution will be counted. Okay. So after 15th of December, your contribution, you people can start contributions. You can check the projects from the website. You can start contributing to it. Your PRs will get accepted or rejected within a day or two, right? Is it required to fill form about team? Fill form about team. Ayush, what do you mean by that? If you mean that you have every team member have to fill the form, then yes, you people have to fill the form, as this is an open source contribution event. So we prefer individual participation. Next thing, can we be mentors and contributors at the same time? Yes, you people can be mentors and contributors at the same time. It's up to you. Um, you can't make your first PR right now because it's starting after 15th, right? Can I select any project? Yes, you people can select any projects on the website. Also, the projects will be shared on Discord channel. So if you people haven't joined the Discord yet, you people can join the Discord from over here. I'm sharing the link in the chat box. Any more questions you people are having? I hope you all are clear with the schedule and what exactly you people have to do. So are you people having any more doubts on how many projects we have to work? It's up to you, Krishna. You people can work on all the projects, or you people can work on a single project. It's up to you. You can choose from your tech stack. If someone from team on Devfolio, what he can do. Okay. If you form a team on Devfolio, you all. can separate out, right, and start contributing individually. If you are participating as a team, as the team is of three people or two people, then all the three people who are participating, their PRs will be counted, and the prize distribution will be for the single person. But so I would say that you people should prefer uh, individual participation. Okay. Any more questions? I guess there are no more questions from your side. So maybe we can end the session and you people can ask your doubts on the Discord. I have shared the Discord link. Next is you people have to fill this feedback form. Okay, the link is being shared in the chat box. You people can start filling the feedback form, and there might be some exciting prizes for you people waiting for there, right? So if you people have any more doubts, you can ask here or in the Discord channel. Okay, so I hope there are no more questions. We can end the session here. Thank you all for joining. Hope to see you in the next session on 30 on 19, sorry. Okay, on 15 too. Right. Bye bye. Take care. No, you don't need to fill any other participation form. You just have to fill the form that is on the folio. That's it. After that, we'll be sending you the mails for further updates.